I'm late.
No, you got here right on time.
No, I'm late.
It's the Late Show.
Sorry I'm late.
You're too late.
The wizard is never late.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm gonna see the show.
But not to come late. You are late.
You're late, man. Always late, huh?
The hour grows late.
You're late. I'm not paying for those.
But is he already too late to save his friends?
You're too late.
And I'm like, dude.
You're not going from Mary Poppins to a savage killer.
I would say yes, it lives up to the hype. What little hype I had for it was pretty damn good.
I'm gonna be a lot of the guy who did this. I don't.
There's a
have the
lot of
down.
names, though. There's a lot of characters who you're supposed to know who they are, but they either provide a name once or they just kind of blur in with everybody else.
Yeah, or they're talking to him over the phone and they're like, yeah, like fucking Paulie. And you're like, God, which one was Paulie again?
He's the one with 3 holes in his head.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
But
Are we recording right now?
yeah,
Yes,
we're
we are.
recording,
Oh,
and then
shit.
we'll eventually throw in an actual intro. Like,
You would know if you listen to the podcast like you say that you do.
No, I do. I just don't know your guys' editing techniques. You guys talk about editing, but I don't know like what you start. and
we
when.
just kind of do a slow open, and then we'll say, "All right, we're into it," just to get comfortable with talking.
Yeah.
Which, I haven't listened to some of the newer ones, so I don't know if we're still leaving like a cold open with us bullshitting or if we just like...
Not too much.
Not
It's
too
like
much.
it's like a very like 3. This is actually a good example of it. It'll be a 3-second trail in, and then we'll say, "Hey, welcome to Late to the Show podcast. This week we're talking about The Godfather." Hold on. I'm Jake. Here I have with me is John,
So,
and our special guest for the week, Jordan, the Mind Reader.
Hey, what up, boy?
So that's how we'll intro it.
Okay, sounds good, man.
All right.
so anyways, we're
I'm
talking
not
about
gonna
The
do that
Godfather.
again. Yes, The Godfather.
Godfather is this week's one.
1972. Francis Ford Capicola.
Capicola? No.
No?
No, how do you say it?
Francis Ford a Gabagoo.
Thank you. How do you say it? You say that? Like
Gabagoo is
gabagoo.
Italian slang for capicola.
And also
Or ham.
or vagina.
Right, yeah. Like we make roast beef jokes here. Apparently they make ham jokes in Italy.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
like it's like a deli meat in Italy.
I mean, there's deli ham in America, too.
But it's called capicola, but it's
Alright.
a gabagoo.
All right. So anyways, The Godfather.
Yeah, it's this is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. This is actually probably one of the movies that got me into film in general. I did a project for it in my lit and film class junior year of high school, or was it senior year of high school?
I think it would have been senior year.
Okay, senior year fall, yeah. So yeah, I did a whole like character development presentation on it about Michael Corleone's almost civilian-like intro, and then spoiler alert, he becomes the Godfather in the end of the movie.
His descent into the family business.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think the big selling point when this came out in 1972 is that you have an actor like Marlon Brando who's been, like, the face of Hollywood for, like, so many years. And you're like, oh, The Godfather. And it's like, oh, yeah, he's Don Corleone. And it's, like, he was supposed to be the major draw. I don't think shouldn't say not a lot of the actors had a major draw back in 72. But, you get people like James Caan in here. Al Pacino had a couple smaller roles in the 60s before this, but it wasn't like he didn't get like his big break, and I think The Godfather was his big break.
When did the first Rocky come out?
76?
Something like that.
Okay. Well, I was just curious because the fucking she's in the movie.
She is.
Talia Shire, I think her name is. But let's go back a minute. Out of the 3 people here, am the only one who hasn't seen the fucking movie.
Yes.
My parents even went and saw it in theaters last year because they put it back at Showplace 16.
That's dope.
And I'd still not seen the movie.
That's dope.
So all the AMC marathons they do every fucking year for all 3 of them. No. So when did you guys first see the movie?
So my story with this is me and my buddy, our buddy, I should say, Nick Laudicina.
I'm not friends with him.
No, fuck that kid. He's a piece of shit. No, so I used to go over to his house a lot for New Year's Eve parties and stuff. And one time, I told him that, neither of us, like, and I was being Italian, I'm like, neither of us has watched The Godfather. So we should watch it. He's like, yeah, let's watch it during the New Year's Eve party. So we went down in the basement and watched it, and it ended at 11:59. Wow. So it's like, oh shit. It was like, this is a sign that we need to watch the Godfather movie like every New Year's. So then the following year we watched Godfather 2, and we had like a big like array of snacks and hors d'oeuvres and drinks. So it was pretty cool.
Lots of gabagoo.
Lots of gabagoo. But yeah, so probably 2010 or 2011. First time I watched this.
How about you, Johnny Fool?
God, I don't even remember the first time I watched it. Like, I know my dad showed it to me, but I couldn't tell you how old I was or anything. I was, if I had to guess, maybe a freshman in high school, but I can't swear to that.
Did it have any kind of impact on you the first time you watched it, or was it like, oh, that was? It's like a movie you can tell is good, but it's like,
I think that was more of my reaction the first time. Was I'm like, well, I know it's supposed to be a good movie, but I'm bored to tears with it because I was younger and had a little less like appreciation for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then I'd go on to watch it a couple times, and I was like, all right. Like every time I watched it, I liked it more and more. And that's still a fact. By the time I watched it this time, I'm like, oh, it's even better than the last time I watched it. Yeah. So
when did you watch it, by the way?
Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So it was probably like 2-3 days ago I watched it. The only issue I have with it is I do really like this movie, but because it is such a long movie, I've got to be like in the right mood to want to watch it usually. But then I knew we had to do this podcast. So I'm like, fuck, I just have to get myself in the mood to watch The Godfather.
Precisely.
But no, it's still, to me, it's like the best movie that's ever been made. It's not my favorite movie, but it's like the best movie ever made. Citizen Kane blows.
Fuck Citizen Kane with Spike Dick. I hate that
The
movie.
Godfather is the best movie, in my opinion, that's ever been made.
I was definitely like, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but like relieved. There's the one.
Yeah.
That it was good, because I wasn't sure, because I think Marlon Brando's fucking annoying. I think he's like overhyped.
Yeah.
I mean, based on the way movies were done and stuff, like Streetcar Named Desire, it's like he's just. I know that's how it's written, but it's just.
I get you.
I don't know.
He was one of the first like method actors too, like in Hollywood. So I think you were talking about he kind of bought into his own bullshit through his career, and maybe that's what it is.
And yeah, definitely, because it kind of almost has like his performance almost has that Charlton Heston vibe, where like you're just like you read the character description and then that's all you're doing. You're not really reacting off of other people. It's kind of like you're doing your own thing for yourself to try and be as standout as possible for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's not like a team player performance type thing.
Yep.
But in this movie, this is the best thing I've seen him do, in my opinion. I mean, just based on the fact that it was interesting the whole time. He didn't like take me out of the movie, which he does in all the other movies. I'm like, why is he doing this right now? Like,
Yeah.
Like the Stella screaming scene is silly as hell.
Which is not in The Godfather. If you
No.
haven't seen it.
Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah, no, I
Streetcar
know.
Named Desire. And it was actually in the like the play script too. Like it wasn't something that he just improvised.
Well, no, I know that, but it works better on paper.
Yeah,
than
it does. Yeah.
And even that's still a play also. Maybe that's more the thing, because it's written as a play, so it's supposed to be overacted. But anyway.
You're playing for the back row.
Right.
Precisely.
But this whole movie in general, if it was made in 1972, I haven't seen a whole lot of movies from the 60s and before that, but it almost kind of feels like this movie might have been one of the first ones that kind of get into the more modern way of telling a story in film.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think...
Or to me, it kind of felt like that.
I think the only competition, like, Coppola had back in that era is probably Kubrick. Because 2001, A Space Odyssey came out in 68 or 69.
68, because we talked about it with the Planet of the Apes when it came out the same year as Planet of the Apes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So that came out, and then The Shining came out in 80, actually. Maybe that one's actually a little older. But he had that. He also had Clockwork Orange.
Well, yeah,
in
his
72.
stuff is way more experimental, though.
Yeah. So I liked. So that's what I was gonna say. Like, Stanley Kubrick stuff looks great, but his storytelling, I think, is it's kind of like odd, kind of like his pacing and stuff through movies. In my opinion, I think his best movie is The Shining, and a lot of people don't really like it. I watched A Clockwork Orange like a month ago.
That one's overrated.
And
in my
it's
opinion.
a very overrated. I see, like, when I watched it, I was just like, holy shit, he was doing, montages and like slow motion shit in the 70s, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like a little bit before its time. And I think Kubrick was a little bit before his time, but Coppola, I think, just succeeded more as a director in storytelling, and his shots are freaking spot on. I feel like I told you this when we were starting. Every shot that Coppola made in this movie had purpose to me. Even like in the beginning, like in the wedding scene,
right.
Something that didn't add a lot to the story, which is, I feel like, why this movie is so long, is because Coppola likes to have fun with his shots. The wedding, he would just like zoom in on people dancing and stuff like that, or like pictures being taken. You can't really hear the dialogue, but I think it's to give us the impression that we're along for the ride in this movie,
right?
And
it's kind of like world building.
Yeah.
Showing the whole environment, kind of setting the audience up for, like, this is what this whole family is like. This is how they interact with each other.
Well, and then interspersing that with, like, the people asking the Don for favors.
Yeah.
Is like, here's the public face of it. It's everybody having fun and everything. But then here's Don Corleone in a dark office.
Yeah, behind closed doors.
Taking shady deals with people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Jake, when did you watch this movie, actually, before we get too carried away?
What?
When did you watch this movie?
Last night. I had a friend over, and we drank... Well, I had about 9 shots of horrible brandy. You had, what, 5 or 6?
Yeah. Actually, I think I had 6 or 7. Because I forgot that you poured us that shot beforehand, too.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, shit.
So that, and then we each had a glass of wine, made a frozen pizza. You ate a pint of ice cream.
Yep. Classic.
And we split a bag of sweet chili Doritos.
Fuego.
Nice.
And threw up. But it was a good
I
movie.
didn't throw up. Wait a minute.
I threw up. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You didn't tell me that you threw up.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't want to embarrass myself.
So, but yeah, it was a good night. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I had to reread the synopsis a little bit today just to make sure I did remember everything that happened in it. But, yeah, I liked it a lot.
So now I would recommend, since you don't really remember the last hour so well, except for the synopsis, it's got my favorite, like, the last hour has my all-time favorite, like, scene, like, sequence in the movie, and you know what I'm talking about, the baptism scene.
Yeah.
Like, that, to me, is one of the all-time best, like,
Quick cut,
sequences.
montage, yeah.
In
Parallel
film.
editing.
Dude, it's so good.
That one, that's great. What was the other one that I really, really like? The restaurant scene where he kills Sollozzo and McCluskey.
Yeah.
In the diner.
So
when he goes to get his gun,
when they plant the gun in the bathroom.
Oh,
in the
yes.
old fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is one of my... That and then the baptism scenes are like 2 of my all-time favorite moments in movies.
I use that. I actually use that restaurant scene in my presentation for my lit and film class, where like that scene takes place obviously in a restaurant that's like completely empty. Or I shouldn't say it's completely empty, but they have it in public so that like nothing like gets out of hand, and like there's obviously witnesses for everything, and they frisk frisk Al Pacino's character Michael Corleone
Right.
Before getting there, but he obviously has his guys plant like a pistol in the bathroom, and he goes and grabs it. But it's, to me, this point it's kind of his turning point as a character in general, because right now he's kind of like, before that he was going through the motions and he was trying to do everything that he think would be right, But after they shot his dad, he was like, "All right, you shot my dad. Like, all right, let's meet, let's talk." But he was telling like, not Clemenza. He's just like, "I'm gonna fucking kill these two bastards," and they're like, "Whoa!" And Sonny's like, "Whoa, we don't gotta go around killing people, huh?" And gives him like the old Italian slap on the face, like, you're a child, you know. You just can't go killing around the police chief and like the head of an Italian mob,
Right.
But yeah, like when he goes and gets the gun and goes and sits down, we get that over the shoulder shot of what's his name? Clemenza? Salazzo, and it slowly starts to zoom in on Michael, and you kind of see his eyes start like shifting around, and the background audio starts picking up,
and their voices go down.
Yeah, and their voices go down. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever he's saying right now doesn't matter. One, because it's an Italian, and two, remember they're speaking Italian, so the
I thought you said
Well,
one
even,
because
like-
he's Italian and it doesn't matter what Italian say. I was like, what?
No, no. And then you kind of hear the train in the background start screeching. And it's that breaking point in Michael's mind, like, all right, my decision's been made, and I'm about to do it. And then he kills them and walks out, and he does everything like
Wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, he does it kind of like calmly. He was supposed to shoot them both in the head twice, and then
As he exited the bathroom, he
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to sit back down.
Yep. But yeah, he sat back down and people saw him again, and yep.
And he didn't like do where he drops his hand and drops the gun. He just throws the gun willy nilly, like, yeah.
And then heads to Italy. But that's my I mean, that, like, the John's scene with the baptism is one of my all-time favorite scenes, and that scene right there is also, I mean, just in like cinema history, like, those are probably two of the best scenes ever made. What about you? What were your favorites?
I definitely like all the stuff with Robert Duvall out in Hollywood, getting set up for Johnny.
Yeah, he's so good in this movie.
Just because I liked how he's meeting with this. What is he, a director?
Producer.
He's a producer. Okay.
Yes.
And he's meeting with him and stuff, and it kind of feels like the whole time he's talking to him, he's just collecting information on how to blackmail him or force his hand into putting Johnny in the movie.
Yeah, just doing a lot of recon.
Right. And then
He doesn't even really have to say anything to him. It's just like,
and he's like really what's the word? Not
Cold.
charitable. Great. He's
Respectful.
gracious the whole
Yeah.
time and like respectful and everything. Even when he like gets in his face and at one point calls him a kraut Mick.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit.
But
A lot of racism in this movie.
yeah, there is. But it's all in good spirits.
Yeah, I like when he's like you fucking wop guinea bastard,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I'm actually German Irish, sir. I was like,
Well, my kraut Mick friend.
yeah, yeah, that made me laugh.
But yeah, so I just like the whole. I hadn't actually seen too many like Robert Duvall movies like when he's younger.
Yeah.
I think really this might be the only one.
Shit, he's in Apocalypse Now as well, but
I haven't seen Apocalypse Now.
he's the one who delivers the famous "I love the smell of napalm in the morning"
Yeah,
line.
he's is it colonel or sergeant?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's higher ranking than sergeant, but I don't think he's quite a colonel.
Yeah, he's actually my favorite character in Apocalypse Now as well. He's great. He's just like walking through a fucking field just getting blown up, and he's just like so calm walking through the mud and shit, and people are just shooting. Oh, it's awesome.
But and also with James Caan, I hadn't really seen any young James Caan movies either. I mean, I had seen Brian's Song, but that's probably as young as as he was that I've seen.
The youngest I've seen, well, because I grew up watching westerns with my dad. James Caan was in a John Wayne western called El Dorado, and he played a character named Mississippi, and he was out for revenge, pretty much, because
His parents gave him a stupid name.
no, he actually didn't have. He actually didn't live with his parents growing up. He lived with a medicine doctor, like in the South, and the whatchamacallit, the antagonist of the story was one of the people that killed the medicine doctor. So he wore the doctor's hat on his head.
So he's
And
Inigo Montoya then.
Yes, but he wore a goofy hat, but he had a pretty good name. I like Mississippi as a name.
I was just kidding.
Oh, actually, his real name isn't Mississippi. His name is Alan Trebillion Traherne. And he's
Alright,
like,
so yeah,
that's a
Mississippi's
fucking
good.
mouthful. And they're like, well, what do they call you instead? And they're like, Mississippi. He goes, yeah, that's a mouthful too, but not as much. So, yeah.
Just a couple less syllables in Mississippi.
But yeah, he was
Yeah.
probably like 24 in that movie. So seeing him in
okay.
this kind of like in his early 30s, it was really cool to see because he's a good looking guy. And an elf, he aged like shit.
No, he didn't. He just aged. I thought he
Like
looked fine.
shit,
in
in
Elf.
my
Actually,
opinion.
I don't know. Like, you look at this and you look at him in Elf, like, you can at least see the progression to how he got there.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he
mean,
just
I can
looks
still
like
see
an
his face
older
in that.
James Caan. Yeah, he still looks like James Caan.
You know what's funny though?
Robert
Young James-
Duvall, I don't think quite looks like Robert Duvall did back when he was younger. Now that he's older,
I think it's like when I saw The Godfather the first time and I didn't know Robert Duvall was in it. I saw him and I was just like, motherfucker, is that the guy from Secondhand Lions?
You know what's funny? Young Robert Duvall also kind of looks like the bad guy from the movie The Mask. Jim Carrey's The Mask.
a little bit.
Because
Yeah.
I had to look him up last night because I was like,
Yeah, you
because
showed me
in
a
the very
picture.
first scene you just see sides of his face.
Yeah,
I'm like, it kind of looks like I think his name's Peter Green.
I think so.
I don't even think he's been in a movie in 20 years.
Couldn't tell you honestly.
No.
Blue Streak and The Mask are the only ones I've seen him in.
Of course, this movie is also the most restrained I can remember ever seeing Al Pacino in anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, he's always big and exaggerated, and in this, he's very soft-spoken. And
Well, we were saying just
Restrained.
how weird it is to hear his voice so clearly and not talk like this.
Yeah.
It's like just very. That's my family. That's not me.
Yeah.
Don't ask me about my business, Kay.
Yeah, don't ask me about my business. It's not mine.
Also, seeing Diane Keaton in this movie, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I had to look up who played Kay, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Diane
I
Keaton.
knew that forehead looked familiar.
Yeah, she had a big forehead. I know why she wears her bangs now and covers it up with big glasses too.
You gotta fill up the space.
I will never
Actually,
get Diane Keaton on this podcast either.
yeah. Diane, you're a beautiful woman. We'd love to have you on.
But you're gonna have
If
to
you-
cover up that forehead. 'cause
Yeah,
it's gonna
if
glare
you
in my
remember
eyes.
if you remember your name, that'd be great. I don't know how old you are. Don't know if the dementia's kicked in just yet.
No, she was just in a movie called Palms, actually. Which
Palms?
is about, yeah.
Which is actually about dementia. That'd be
No,
fucked
it's,
up.
so, first weekend I went and saw Detective Pikachu was over Mother's Day weekend. But I went on Saturday, not on Mother's Day.
You're a good son, John.
Yeah. And so we went in, and there was like a mother, a grandmother, and like two daughters going to see a movie. And they were going to go see Palms, which was had to be because for the grandmother of the group, because I looked it up, and it's basically about this woman who goes to like an assisted living facility, and then her and another woman like start a cheerleading squad at the assisted living facility.
Oh.
Oh, never mind. I was about to say, actually, when you said that she was at like an assisted living facility, I'm like, oh, maybe I did see commercials for this, but no, it was not the
Yeah.
same movie. And I
Is
like,
it a comedy?
Yes, it's
Oh.
got.
I would certainly hope so.
I think Pam Grier was in it too.
Ooh,
Pam Grier.
She was in a lot of like older like blaxploitation films like Coffee and
So not related to Judy Greer.
no.
no.
I know the name's familiar. I've heard the name for
I almost
sure.
said oh shit, she was in because the character Foxy Cleopatra in Austin Powers 3 is based on two characters that she played.
Oh,
I
really?
can't fucking remember. One of them, their last name was Cleopatra.
Oh, she was in Jackie Brown.
Yeah, and she was in Jackie Brown.
Wait, was
Which-
she Jackie Brown?
Yeah, she was Jackie Brown.
Oh, okay.
Which probably would have been the one to start with for this audience here, but
I actually haven't seen Jackie Brown. I'd just like to go on record and say that that's one of the only Tarantino movies I haven't seen.
it feels differently because it's one that he didn't write. But it's still...
Oh, I didn't realize he didn't even write it.
Nope, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's based on a book.
Oh, okay.
I believe that. Hey, so was The Godfather.
It's true.
Does Jackie
Two-
Brown then count as one of his 10 films?
Yes, it does.
If he didn't write it?
Yep, he still counts it.
Sounds like
I
cheating.
think
but-
Mario Puzo wrote the Godfather book only 2 or 3 years before the movie came out. Like
Well,
the
it's-
source material was so fresh.
So it was kind of done like Star Wars then. Because, George Lucas had the idea for all of Star Wars, and then he wrote them out in books, and then wrote scripts. And, Mario Puzo is credited as being the screenplay writer as well.
Correct. Yeah. And
So-
he won an Oscar for it. Pacino won.
Brando won.
Brando won. Actually, I don't know if Brando won.
Brando won because this is the one where he had the Native American woman speak for him, and he didn't go
Oh, that's right.
to talk about the treatment of Native Americans in Hollywood.
And then Francis Ford Coppola won Best Director, and then it also won Best Screenplay.
I
thought it won the
him
Big Four.
and Puzo both wrote it.
Is it the Big Four or Big Five?
It's
in
5.
Oscars?
It's picture, actor, actress, director, and screenplay. I think I don't remember what the 5th one is.
Original screenplay, probably.
Or screenplay at all.
Yeah, because
Well, I mean, there's adapted screenplay.
Yeah, no, I know, but either screenplay I think would be the one that counts, but it might not be screenplay. I don't remember what the last category is.
I would assume that would be it. I mean,
what were the 2 movies that?
no one gives a shit about editing, really.
What were the 2 movies that did win the Big Five? It's only happened twice.
I'm gonna say probably Return of the King and Titanic, if I had to guess.
I don't remember actually.
I really don't. I'm not the one to
ask.
ask. I don't really know much about the Oscars.
Peyton, if you're listening to this podcast,
Oh, I'm looking it up right now. Big 5 Oscars. Big 5. Only 3 films have won it.
Oh, 3 now?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
And the Big 5 are Best Picture, Best Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. So
Okay,
I was
good
correct. The 3 that won it, It Happened One Night, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and The Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
The only 3 movies to win the Big 5.
Who did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I
Not Kubrick.
wouldn't tell you.
No, I know that.
A list of films who won it. Okay, well, that didn't help me
I
out.
also haven't seen that one either.
Oh,
I've
that's
seen
such a
most
good
of it.
movie.
Is it 76 as well? No, Rocky won Best Picture for 76.
75 was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Damn, I'm getting pretty good with my...
Your dates?
So, if we're talking about movies from the 70s in general that I really enjoy, obviously...
Milos Forman directed.
What else did he make?
Let's say I've never heard
Let's
of
say
that.
was he a
He
one-hit wonder?
directed... No, he's done some big ones. He directed Amadeus,
Which also won.
The People versus Larry Flynn. He's got 21
Creator of
credits.
Hustler.
I'm guessing that's a courtroom drama.
Let's see if there's any other. Ragtime, Hair.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I had to do some coke.
I was wondering what that was over there. Powdering your nose.
Yeah. It's not flour or powdered sugar.
Yeah, so those are the kind of the big ones that I know of from him. But
Okay.
so
But-
no, not a one-hit wonder.
So it's funny, like a lot of movies that I consider some of the best come from the 70s. Or my personal favorite. Like in my top 5, I actually put The Warriors from 1979.
Oh, you don't like The Warriors?
No, I fucking hate that movie.
I like that one.
I
That's a
think
good
it's
one.
dumb.
That's a good one.
It has Ajax in it, who is Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh, is that
James
really?
Remar, yeah.
Oh. I think we talked about
He
that.
was
actually.
Dexter's dad on Dexter.
He also was, that's correct.
Haven't watched Dexter.
Ah, that's right.
You could just
you
watch
don't
the
like
first
good
4.
things, Jake. I forget.
I like good things. I just like to watch them later.
I would watch The Warriors again.
I just watched it a month ago.
Did you?
Yep.
What didn't you like about it?
I know it's also based on the time, but I think the whole fucking setup is silly. All these gangs running around wearing fucking matching uniforms. It's such a. They're all a bunch of fucking dandies. I fucking hate the movie.
That's what gangs were like in the 70s.
Yeah,
man.
well,
That's how you knew. You fucking wore your colors because it wasn't just Crips and Bloods. It was
Yeah,
thousands of people.
Yeah, you had to have a little more variety than just red and blue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, there's like 1,000 gangs, so nope.
And they each
Yellow's
had their
already
own
taken.
little-
Somebody else fucking come up with your own color.
Yeah, and they each had their own character and stuff like that.
Like the
they all-
fucking baseball guys.
yeah.
the baseball
I-
Furies were dope as fuck.
I didn't think so. I just think they're all lame. Because you know what? I think gangs are lame. I think it's stupid.
Oh, but I actually like.
So I don't think it looks cool that they're all a bunch of gangs trying to get through New York. It's like,
but it's
could've
one
been-
gang against every gang in New York.
yeah, I know, and I still think it's stupid.
I like it because it takes place.
John
in-
Wick 2 is better than Warriors.
John Wick 2 is the worst movie of all time. I'd like to put that on record. And John Wick 3 was fucking amazing.
Are you serious? Did you John Wick 2? I like John Wick 2 better than John Wick 3.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I like John Wick 1 the best. And
I like
then
John
the
Wick
third-
2 the best out of the 3.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought
Even
it
more
was
than the
just-
first one?
Yes.
Ooh.
The seriously for me the Hall of Mirrors fight in John Wick 2
Oh, yeah,
is
that was-
one of the most incredible action sequences I've ever seen.
I will say that some of the scenes we get out of John Wick 2 can be considered like the best from the trilogy so far. But as far as like plotline and stuff, I think that's kind of where it fell apart for me.
See, and I felt that helped. It continued to flesh out the world that John Wick inhabits. So, like, to me, that's what I really found interesting about 2.
That's what I liked more about 1. I only saw 2 once, and I don't remember it super well, so I need to watch it again, especially before I see the third one. But the first one I liked that we were just jumping into the world, and then in the second one when they're just keep adding on to it.
Well, 3 just keeps adding on.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, I like the feeling of the first one of just diving in, whereas in the second one, I feel it loses some of that shine because I already know a little bit about it. And like, yeah, it keeps adding more to it, but I feel like I'm already in on the joke, or not the joke, but in on the idea.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like have the same effect that the first one did.
I get that, but I don't know.
It wasn't a bad movie though. I still liked it.
Yeah.
But as far as one guy against everyone else, I'd rather watch that than fucking Warriors.
Yeah.
I think the Warriors is lame.
Actually, the Warriors actually had kind of the same plot line as
That's
John
what I'm
Wick
saying.
3.
as John Wick. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like,
Did you watch John Wick 3 yet?
No.
Oh shit, dude!
It's good.
It's good. The whole spoiler. The knife scene.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that, it's
At the-
fucking legendary.
Like, and that's like right at the beginning of the movie too.
Yeah, like literally first 20 minutes of that movie, and you're already getting some prime John Wick action.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I just watched Keanu Reeves play with a bunch of puppies and answer.
Hey, I
all the
watched that as
internet's
well.
Questions. So
Yeah,
I did not watch that video, but I saw it on YouTube.
yeah. What got you into riding motorcycle, or like what got you interested in motorcycles?
They're
I don't
awesome.
know, riding them because they're awesome. I was like, that's such a Keanu answer.
But anyways, The Godfather.
The Godfather, yeah. Speaking
Keanu
of
Reeves
is
is
the
not in this.
Godfather.
yeah, Keanu Reeves, friend of the show, is not in The Godfather.
Sorry, Keith.
He was in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1990,
As
which
Jonathan
you were
Harker.
which you were arguing with me was
I got
not
it mixed
called
up with the one from the 30s or whatever.
1931. Yeah,
Which one is that one? Just Dracula?
it's just Dracula.
What about Dracula in Love?
Is that
What about
Is it Gerard
Dracula
Butler?
3000? No, that's the Gerard
Butler? Actually, if I defend
Space Dracula.
yeah, if I defend shitty movies, like especially horror movies, I actually like Dracula 3000.
It has Hyde from That 70s Show in it.
It's
Danny Masters.
yeah, it does. But it doesn't have Gary Oldman.
Bum, bum.
But-
He's too old, man.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I don't know, I think out of all of Francis Ford Coppola's movies, I like this one over Apocalypse Now, but just
Yes.
by a little bit. To
Now,
me.
what's your opinion? Because I know a lot of people regard the second one better.
So
I
I've-
personally like this one more than the second one.
And I agree. I think because the second one's plot is a little bit more fast paced, maybe
Yes.
that's why they like it, and it feels like the movie. And it's not as long either. I think the second one's only like 2 hours and 25 minutes, whereas this one runs for like 2 hours and 50 minutes. So you get it shortened down a little bit, and you also get to see Pacino kind of act a little bit more. But to us, since we're watching this like in kind of like retrospect, since the movies came out in the 70s, we see Pacino as like this yelling kind of guy, and we get a little bit of his yelling in the second Godfather. And I know you haven't seen The Godfather 2, obviously.
I've seen bits out of it, but
The last moment though in The Godfather 2 with Fredo
Yeah,
is also a great movie moment.
spoiler alert, I thought Fredo was probably going to die.
I think since you
earlier
guys
in the
did.
movie. Now I know he lives. Thanks.
So I guess since we're talking, since you guys did Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I think since we did The Godfather, I think The Godfather 2 is also an important movie, just in film history in general.
I'd agree with that.
And I'd also recommend doing that one as well. And if you guys are listening right now and you haven't seen The Godfather, it's very good. But just like The Wolf of Wall Street, this movie is in the 2 hour and 50-minute range. So
Wolf of Wall Street breaks 3 hours.
Yeah,
But
Is that with credits?
I think with credits.
I thought it was only 2 hours 45 minutes.
I thought it was 57 minutes. 2 hours 57.
I'm positive it hits 3 hours.
Throw up the IMDb.
Working on it.
But yeah, I have it on Blu-ray, and I only watched it once since I've owned it, and I'm like, this movie was fucking long, and I watched it by myself too, because I'm a big Scorsese fan in general.
It's 3 hours on the nose according to IMDb.
Holy shit! I was off by 3 minutes.
Okay, but to be fair, fucking, I've sat through Endgame 3 times in theaters, and that shit is 3 hours.
15 hours.
Well, 3 hours, 1 minute. So.
Yeah.
So it's as long.
Yeah.
But it feels so much shorter than Wolf of Wall Street.
It does.
By the way, since this is off topic.
Yeah.
Since you've seen Endgame 3 times.
Yes, I have.
Both times, did you wait through the credits to see the tag?
No.
Okay. I was just
After
curious.
the first time, I didn't stick
That's
around.
what I was
for-
curious. I was like, did you...
Actually, every time I've stuck around to watch the credits with the original Avengers, like with their signatures,
That was cool.
I liked that. I stuck around for. So instead of a mid-credit sequence, like, you know, it's like they literally fucking credited like just about everybody who's been in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got to the 6 original Avengers, like it was like it would show them kind of like in shadow, and then they would turn and like be
that's
visible,
right.
and then they would write their signature, and then it would put their name on it.
Mm-hmm.
I sat through to that point every time, and then when that was done, I'd leave. Because goddamn, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that series.
Yeah. There's no end credit scene in Godfather. You can just stop it afterwards.
Yeah, that end credits didn't really start becoming a thing until way later.
I was saying,
and
a lot
not
of
just
movies
'cause
do
the MC.
beginning credits, and those ones take
He-Man.
fucking forever.
He-Man
Yeah.
and Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren in the 80s had an end credit scene.
Did it?
Yep. I remember that because they had it on VHS, and if you wait till afterwards, because I used to fall asleep to that movie. I used to fall asleep to that Beverly Hills Ninja, Happy Gilmore. And that, like when you guys
Ghost
did
Rider.
Ghost Rider as well. Yeah, I used to watch, like, I just used to fall asleep to a lot of weird movies, like Lion King 1.5. Like,
You know,
as
I
well.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, really? I prefer
Isn't that
that
the one
over
with-
the normal one, to be honest.
I don't really
'Cause-
care about Lion King in general.
Same.
I mean, it's good,
It's
but
overrated.
it's not
Don't
my
tell
favorite
Nick
Disney
that.
movie.
Oh,
Nick loves Lank.
I bet. I just like Hercules a little bit better.
I like Hercules a lot better. I like Aladdin better.
I like Beauty and the Beast best, though, to be honest.
That's your favorite?
Yeah, straight up. I love that movie.
Oh.
I think Hercules is my favorite Disney animated.
It's a close second for me, but I think, what was it, 92 or 93 when Beauty and the Beast came out?
I think 3.
And it won best. I think it was like the first Disney movie to win best animated or whatever.
Best animated as a category didn't exist until 2001.
Oh, so then it was
'Cause
nominated
Shrek
for best
won.
picture. Oh fuck, that's right. God damn.
Shrek won an Oscar?
Yeah, Shrek was Shrek won the first best animated feature category Oscar.
Oh.
Off of burp and fart jokes. Good for you. Shrek.
Shrek is
And
incredible.
All-Star. Thank you, Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
You won that movie a goddamn Oscar.
They wanted to put a different. I forgot. They wanted to put a different song in the beginning, but they couldn't get the rights to it. And they're like, "Fine." I forgot what the song was, but they're like, "Fine. What is everyone else
It
listening
was
to
hurt
right now?"
by 9 Inch Nails.
It was not. It was hurt. It was hurt by Johnny Cash instead. Oh fuck that.
I don't think Johnny Cash had covered Hurt yet.
Probably 2005.
He died in 2005.
Didn't he do it before he died?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, but I'm saying
No, he
do it when he's
recorded
fucking
it
dead.
as a fucking ghost.
it was on his deathbed.
Ooh,
He recorded
that would be-
movie
Yeah.
or song.
That would be, dude. What if Johnny Cash committed suicide and then he left "Hurt" as a recording? That'd be dark.
Well, I mean,
hurt myself.
Fucking
today.
David Bowie released his last album 2 days before he died.
And it was super dark. It basically just told a story of what he was going through.
We want to talk about dark shit? Fucking listen to Life After Death by Biggie, which came out 2 months after he died.
Yeah.
And the whole album's about him dying. It was before he knew he was going to get shot.
Maybe he knew he was gonna get shot, and he's
Well,
trying
I
to
mean,
tell
he
the
probably knew there was some shit going down. That was when everyone was getting shot.
Fair enough.
It was actually right at the tail end, but it was after Tupac died.
2002 is when Johnny Cash covered Hurt.
God damn it!
Just missed the bus.
Just
Shrek.
missed it.
No wonder they couldn't get that in the movie. Otherwise, it probably would have for sure been in there.
Sorry to interrupt the
Godfather podcast.
Well, God, we barely talked about the Godfather on this episode.
Well, here you go. We all like the movie in general. What were some parts that you didn't like?
That I didn't like?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Talia Shire's annoying,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
And even rewatching the Rocky movie, she's annoying in that too. She just screams. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it had a purpose. I don't know. I just thought the scenes were annoying. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I appreciate what they do for the movie and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see that guy get his fucking ass whooped on the street.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Fucking throwing the garbage can at him and.
I actually love Sonny's character.
Oh yeah,
James
me too.
Caan
Me too.
in that movie. I really liked him. I was bummed when he fucking got it.
My favorite kind of like side character though, I love Clemenza. I think Clemenza's great.
I was telling Jake about that. I'm like, Clemenza's like my fucking dude in this. Like, he just reminds me of like, I'm like, Clemenza in this is like the uncle that's always around for like no reason, but just because he's like family. Like, oh, you guys having dinner tonight? Well, Clemenza's coming over and he's gonna show you how to make meatballs and sausage. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love his dialect, like his super like New York Italian accent. Because the thing, I said it already, but everything in this movie made sense and it served purpose, to me at least, and that's why I think it's like hard for me to nitpick it. If the only thing I had to nitpick it is probably for time in general. Like,
yeah, like for me, the wedding scene I think goes on just a tad too long. I used to really not like the scene where Michael goes to Italy because I felt that took too long, but this watch I'm just like, it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. So, like, I was okay with everything that happened there.
I actually liked him going to Italy because it kind of showed him getting in touch with his Italian roots, like what, his family before him, not his brothers and sisters as much, maybe, but...
I think technically it's Sicily, by the way. I think he technically went to Sicily.
Which is part of Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, but it's
Or is it kind of like how Hong Kong is technically part of China, but it's, like, kind of its own weird thing, too?
It's like... That's like saying... like, people say they're Italian, but they're like, oh, you're Italian. Well, it's like, I'm Sicilian. It's like, oh, shit. Like, Sicily is, like, where the mob originated. And I think...
They're more aggressive folk.
Italy wanted to be separated from Sicily because, economic purposes. Like, Sicily was more of a place for, like, farmers and stuff. And it's like, oh, you guys are just, like... below like the poverty line and you're just working to get by kind of thing, and Italy wanted to be the place of like prosperity and like
just like the Italians.
Yeah, we're just always kind of oh man, us greasy wops working in the field back in the early 1900s.
Is there a Sicilian slur, or is it just all the Italian ones?
So I mean, depending on like what area you go to in Sicily or Italy, you'll get different dialects depending on the region. Like if you go more towards like the northern side of Italy, people almost have like a French kind of accent on there.
Well, I'm not even talking about like the language. I'm talking like the slurs, like
why do we?
If you're gonna go, I'm just curious. Like there's the three. There's Wap, Dago, Guinea. Are there any other ones? Is there one specifically for Sicilians?
No, they all apply to us too.
Okay. Just curious.
All right, Jesus.
I'm not going to use them. I'm just curious.
No, like, and that's...
I mean, those are the three I heard in the movie, but I also know they're all Sicilian for the most part.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, yeah. So this movie took place in the 40s, like, right after World War II.
Which is the war Michael fought in.
Exactly. And I think that's why I like this movie so much, is people, at this point, now that like Ellis Island and stuff is pretty much past its prime, when you're getting like a whole bunch of like European immigrants coming over,
right?
Like the Italians pretty much rolled in hard in like 1895 to like 1915, like it's pretty much their huge like immigration thing. So they took over like southwest side of New York, and then they also came to Italy, or not Italy.
Italians went to Italy.
Italians went to Italy to prosper again. No, they went to Chicago as well and took over west side area, southwest side area. West side represent Little Italy. 60607 zip represent. I lived in Little Italy for a little bit.
Right. I lived in 60605.
No one fucking asked you.
Yeah, well, it was the South. Shit
it was
went
South
down.
I lived in Hanover Park. That was as close as I've gotten to actually living in Chicago.
Did you have a 606 zip code technically?
I don't fucking remember.
Ugh.
I lived there for a year, and I think I put it in once on Amazon so that if I bought shit, it would come to me.
But
I was like right next to Schaumburg. That's where I was living.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of the score?
It was great.
Yeah, I liked it.
The theme is amazing.
We get like a lot of riffs from like Family Guy and stuff.
Right, where they have the here comes in the slowly rising trumpet sound. All right, right, so I'm gonna need you to take him out back and put a ball in his head. I said. That I will have to adjust in post.
Oh yeah.
Or do you have to really? Because that's part of the joke.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You'll tell it's loud because it distorts like crazy. I
Yeah.
have headphones on right now.
no, I
Let's
got
turn the gain up. Oh,
Skid
shit.
Row.
Turn it up to 11.
But yeah, no, it's a great movie. This is...
Yeah, I was pleasantly relieved that the movie was good.
So unlike...
That it wasn't like overhyped to a point where it's like, it's a movie.
Like last week's classic of Planet of the Apes, which for you just really didn't do it.
It was good the first time I watched it, but upon rewatching, it becomes a slogfest in my opinion. And you've only seen it the one time. But Jordan, have you seen?
I've seen it about 4 times, probably the original.
Yeah, the
68.
first one's good, right? Or the first time you watch it, it's like, okay, this is a good movie, and you probably saw it when you were a kid, right?
I did. I because my dad raised me on sci-fi movies and westerns and stuff like that. So a lot of because he was born in the '60s too, so it helped. So he wanted to show me
Same with
shit
my
that
dad.
he grew up with. And yeah, I was probably introduced to Planet of the Apes 2nd grade, probably as soon as I could.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was pretty early on, and I've seen it. Yeah, since then too, like around Halloween and stuff like my.
But
dad
then
used
when
to.
you rewatch it, it's kind of like, all right, this is a little slower than I remember the first time watching it.
Yeah, and I can kind of like nitpick it a little bit, but to be honest, I still enjoy it. It's like, mind you, like when their mouths are moving, but like behind the masks kind of thing.
Right.
That part kind of pisses me off. So I'm like, if they would have just like, I don't know, like somehow like feathered, like tapered around the mouth, so like the mouth moved, but it like wasn't part of the mask kind of thing. I think
Right,
that would
like the
look better.
Cowardly Lion, which
Yeah,
they
but
did
the-
40 years prior, or 30 years prior.
Yeah.
Chewbacca, 9 years later.
But yeah, I think I like the movie, but I think now bringing up Star Wars is I think Planet of the Apes, because it was written by
Rod Serling.
yes, and I'm a big fan of the original Twilight Zone as well, and I think that will forever be like my favorite TV series of all time. I mean, mind you, like the later seasons aren't as good as the original.
Are you watching the Jordan Peele?
I'm not, because I don't think Jordan Peele's like really attached to the Twilight Zone. They market it with him.
Well, I mean, how can you say that if you haven't watched it?
No, but like the thing is, like if you go on the Twilight Zone's IMDb, he's not really attached to the show.
Oh,
like,
I
he's
thought
not-
you meant like he doesn't care about it. I was like,
no,
what?
like
He's
he's
a producer on it.
is he though?
Yeah.
I think he only produced like one episode, and I think that was I think that was their selling point.
He's the Rod Serling character on all the episodes.
Yeah,
too.
but that's the thing. It's like he's like I think that's what people are like trying, or that's what they're trying to sell it as is, oh, Jordan Peele's in this.
He's a producer on 11 episodes.
really,
Yeah, so he's a producer.
but he
on
didn't
that
write
show.
any of them, correct?
He wrote. I'm positive he wrote some of them too. He's credited as creator for the show. Doesn't necessarily say he wrote any episodes
Okay,
specifically.
I think, and
Ooh,
I think,
those are not some good IMDb numbers. though.
no, it's not, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I think people maybe because he wrote Us and he wrote Get Out, and I think when they were trying to go like, oh, Twilight Zone's coming back and Jordan Peele's in charge of it, but he's not. He's producing it. You know, he's watching it like happen before his eyes, and he doesn't really get to have, I think, the input he wants in it. And I think after this season, I don't think we'll see a rebuttal, especially after the scores it's probably getting.
Yeah,
It's probably
I liked-
below a 6. Right
I
now.
really liked the first episode, which you can watch for free on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Second episode was their kind of like their take on like Terror at 20,000 feet, but they did it completely different. It's got nothing to do with like a gremlin or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
And I was good with it, and then there was a point where it could have ended, and then there was another point where it could have ended, and then where it did end, I'm like, that was not a very Twilight Zone ending.
Okay.
That one wasn't that good. And then I haven't watched any of the other ones, but they're all now out, so it's like I can go and binge them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those were hitting like 4.6.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, ooh, that's not great.
Man, I was guessing it was going to be like a 5.1 or
There's
2.
a couple 5s, but like
Okay.
the last handful of episodes were like all 4s and shit. I'm like,
Shit.
Well,
not as good.
with what we were kind of saying last week on the Planet of the Apes episode that Planet of the Apes would have been a phenomenal Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah,
but
cut it
it's
down to 28
so
minutes.
long.
Yeah.
So like then it does like we actually how did we say we cut up the story to
Oh,
make it a
God, I
Twilight
know.
Zone?
Make people die a lot faster.
That was one of them. It's like by the time the hunt happens, everybody else is dead.
Right, because we said still have Stewart die in her case.
Yep.
The one guy dies drowning in the ship as it sinks,
Correct.
and then the other guy dies in the wasteland.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Then he meets up with all the other Neanderthals. They get captured, but he doesn't get shot in the neck, so he can right away reveal that he's a sentient human.
Yeah.
Go right to trial, basically.
Right,
And
then
then
as soon as they lose,
escape.
scientist breaks them out.
And then you get the big
But-
reveals.
Yeah, and
They-
we
instead
cut out
of
the
going-
cave.
You're right.
Yeah.
They don't go to the cave. They just like, here, you're free. Go. Get away now. And then he
He
goes off by himself and finds the Statue of Liberty blown up.
And I 100% agree. That would be an IMDb episode of like a 9.1 right there. Like, oh shit, biggest twist in, TV history.
But because there's so much other stuff in it, and it's not really filler. Like, it does do a good job at like slowly kind of making you think like. And I also said that's the frustrating thing with it is because it's like they're not thinking logically, they're just enforcing their religious thing, and that gets frustrating to me because I think logically about movies.
Yeah.
Even when it's like, okay, obviously they're hiding something, but it's so irritating when they're like doing that trial. Sorry,
Frustration.
this still isn't the Planet of the Apes podcast, but
No, but like for me, I get frustration in like people that are put in like these power positions, like you say, and they're not thinking logically about stuff.
Right.
And it's like making you cringe. It's like, come on, like don't do that.
Right.
Like, so that's, I mean, even with comedy in certain instances, like I understand like a comedy like The Office and stuff like that, but man, like Michael Scott as a character like makes me cringe so hard.
Oh, so I'm assuming
It's like-
Scott's Tots is your favorite episode of that show.
No, I think my favorite episode is actually the.
That was in terms of like cringe, where that's the one where he promises all those kids he'll pay their entire college tuition.
Yes.
And then by the end, like, so they try as long as they get good grades, and so they do. They like bust their asses, so that by the time they get to that point, Michael Scott will pay for their entire college. And he's like, it finally like comes time to pay up, and he can't.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have money to pay for like 30 people's entire college tuition.
right.
So he's like, the best he's got are like fucking laptop batteries that he's willing to give them to power their laptop.
Oh shit.
And just like watching him have to like, and like they're all so excited that he's there, that he's gonna do this, and he's just like in the back dying because he can't do it.
No, like the Christmas episode when they're doing like Secret Santa and he gets the iPod, but he wants to give it to like the younger character, like the intern guy that I can't think
Ryan?
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to make sure that he gets it, kind of thing.
Oh,
It's
because
just
he
like,
loves BJ or Ryan. Yeah, BJ
Yeah,
Novak's character.
yeah, and I'm just like, it's just like so cringy. I know, I understand like the appeal of it because it's funny and the characters are super likable, but some of the characters are also super cringy, and that's like also like a turn off for me.
So you just don't like cringe in general, though.
I think I can uphold cringe to a certain point. If it happens, like, I don't know, like maybe once or twice an episode, but every time, like when it's just a character's like central plot point is that they're cringy and they make situations worse for everyone. I know that's good for like plot appeal too, like because he's a fucking wild card, you don't know what he's gonna do.
Right.
But yeah, man, I was just like, can we just pull back a little bit on the cringe and give
So
the
you
character.
probably didn't like the show Louie then.
I watched the first 2 seasons of Louis, and I was like, I'm good.
That's the only well for cringe that I like
Dip
went back
from.
to and
But-
liked.
But I feel like
Because otherwise,
but that's just him as a
makes me
person
uncomfortable.
in general. That's Louis as a person.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty autobiographical, but it's still like
Yeah, but I'm
amped
not.
up to whatever degree.
Yeah, fair enough. But
So The Godfather.
Godfather.
Talk about a cringe fest. That part with Michael, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
anyway.
not cringy.
I told Jake this last night, but when we think of famous film critics in general throughout our lifetimes, one of them pops up, Roger Ebert.
Yep.
and he did not like this movie.
Yeah, that's right. You were
He
saying
thought that fucking Marlon Brando was a quote-unquote skillful throwaway that wasted his time stuffing his fat jowls with cotton to make an unlikable character. And I'm just like, holy shit! I'm like, this is... but now, kind of like, haha. Like, this is regarded as the best film of all time, and it has a 9.2 on IMDb with 1.4 million reviews, like, by people. And
it just really influences that idea that everyone has different tastes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm pretty certain too. Ebert is the kind of person who, like, if he goes back to a movie, or like, if I'm not mistaken, he's done that where it's like he's been like, well, what I had to say about it was incorrect.
All right.
Louis was fucking with a bowl on the ground. It sounded like he was about to push over a glass from like a countertop.
But yeah, I feel like Ebert's the type who has in the past been like, upon review, this was better than what I thought the first time.
Did he do that with Star Wars, actually? The first Star Wars movie?
I don't remember, honestly.
I'm just going to shout out my boy Leonard Moulton for always having similar movie tastes as me.
Oh, dude, I saw him on DirecTV. You know how they would do, like, the Molten Minute?
Oh, I love Moulton Minutes.
Yeah? Did you see the one where he reviewed porno?
Oh, no.
He's talking about porns on Cinemax.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
like, this was a fantastic adult film featuring so-and-so. I was like, what is this? This is gross. And he's, like, sitting in a theater, like how he does those, He's like,
Was it a spoof?
I don't think so. I mean,
It's probably a spoof.
Well, then
He got your ass.
I guess.
Who
It's
was
stuck
the
in
guy
my
who used
head.
to be on TCM before Ben Mankiewicz took over that?
Is that Gene Shalit?
No.
I don't know.
Fuck. I cannot.
TCM.
Like, the
Actually, was it Moulton?
I don't think it was Malton.
Because I don't know. Moulton still, he's one of probably the hardest working critics to ever be out. Like, he wrote books on, do it. He basically wrote books on, like, these are movies that you should watch of these genres, and this is how you should get into film. Not necessarily just going to, I think a problem, especially like in the United States, is we started getting summer blockbusters back in the 70s as well.
Jaws.
Like Jaws. I'm going to say Star Wars is the first one back in 76.
Jaws is considered the first.
Really?
Blockbuster. Yes, it is.
I would throw...
That's what we learned in film history.
I would throw A New Hope in there because it was like our first.
Robert Osborne was the host before Ben Mankiewicz took over.
I really don't even read film reviews.
What made
like,
Oh, this was just shit on like TCM. Like, he was always the host. Like, he would intro movies and talk about them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just meant as far as because we were talking about Malton and Ebert and stuff. Jesus Christ. I'm not really. I'll just kind of get my own opinion. I mean,
I tend not to put too much stock in what reviews say. Like, I'll look quickly at a score. Like, I watch Jeremy Johns' reviews on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes, like, especially if I don't want to hear plot points or anything about a movie, I'll just skip ahead to what he gives the movie. And I'll be like, okay, I've got a general idea of where I might enjoy this movie.
That's
based
about
on that.
the extent of what I want out of a... Like, okay, if there's a movie I think sounds interesting, the only thing I want to know about it before seeing it is, do people generally like it or no?
Yeah.
And then maybe after the movie, if I really like it, then I want to see like a review of what people thought about the different parts of it.
Yeah. That's what I do too. Plus, like, let's say, I'm just using Jeremy Johns as an example again. Let's say he doesn't like a movie, but I'm like, well, I was interested in seeing that anyways. And I go see it and I still enjoy it, or like I feel differently than he did. Like, a reviewer disliking a movie does not automatically like persuade me not to see it. Mm-hmm. But usually, especially if it's a reviewer who I know my tastes are similar to, if they really liked it, I'm like, well, I'll definitely go see it.
Yeah, and I usually don't go to like a known film reviewer either. I usually more like just listening to a podcast where the movie comes up and they talk about it candidly, and then I'm like really interested. It's like, ooh, what'd they think about the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the reason why I considered Star Wars more of like the summer blockbuster is because it grossed $315 million more than Jaws. And Jaws had a June release day, and Star Wars had May.
Well, we're not saying it's not a summer
Your
blockbuster.
cat's fucking with something.
Yeah, I
out
was
there.
gonna say he is fucking some shit up in your kitchen, and that's like in a quick intermission.
Jake is
from the
stepping away
podcast.
for a moment.
And now we're going to go ahead and fuck up his little office space here.
Yeah.
It appears that he has everything in chronological order with the Dragon Ball
Manga.
Magna, Ligma. So we're gonna.
Anything in the kitchen, his fucking legs are broken. He can't get up on the counter.
Also,
Is he
Jake's
just running
cat's
around?
legs are broken.
Why'd you break your cat's legs, Jake? Let's talk about that.
Fucking deserved it.
I thought he could fly.
Cats are supposed to always be able to land on their legs.
He told me he'd be
did.
fine if I threw him off the deck. He said, "Hold my catnip," and I gave him a toss. That's not true.
No, it's not. He just fucking went for
Please
it.
don't take my cat away.
So,
Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes,
no,
or
the
fucking
Godfather.
Godfather.
Wow, nice. But I mean,
Planet of
really,
the
it's
Godfather.
there's not a lot to say about the Godfather beyond the fact that we really liked it. That hasn't been said on people who actually, this podcast really is not about going into super depth into things. So I mean, we all just know that it's a good movie. We all really enjoyed it. I don't know if there's a whole lot more that needs to be said.
I'd say
since
probably.
we don't
Go ahead. Sorry.
since we don't deep dive and analyze character progression and shots and as much. We'll talk about them a little bit, but not in super detail.
Right, and I will say probably really, like Jordan said, if you had to nitpick it, it'd be just time. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the biggest things that kept me from watching it for so long. It was just like, fuck, that's a goddamn investment
Yes.
to watch this. And then also because if they played it on TV, they played 2, then 3, and then it feels like an even bigger investment because then you feel like you got to watch all 3 of them.
See, I've never seen the third one.
Don't watch 3. Don't watch 3. Don't watch 3.
That's what I've heard.
It goes ahead and just Francis Ford Coppola's like, okay, I want to bring my daughter in this, who is not the best actress at this point in time. I think it came out in 1990. It took a while for The Godfather 3 to
Really,
come out.
90?
It was like
I will look.
Yeah, it was in the 90s. I think it was like 90 or 93.
Weird. When did 2 come out?
2 years after the first one.
Yeah.
So, okay, The Godfather came out in 72. The Godfather Part 2 came out in 74. The Godfather Part 3 came out in 1990.
There you go.
Oh, weird.
So,
Yeah.
26 years later.
And so I was talking to Jake about this last night. If you're doing sequels or if you're making a trilogy in general, I think you should have your your release timeline kind of created in general. Maybe not specific release days, but we're going to release this one 2 years after this one, and then the last one 2 years after that. If you're doing a trilogy. And I don't know what it is, but when people are asking for, you guys mentioned it before, Avatar, people were asking for that sequel in 2009.
Right after the movie came out.
Yeah.
Right.
And James Cameron almost bragged about how, I don't want to say how easy the movie was, but he's like, gotta really give credit to my production team and stuff for getting this movie going and getting it done by by our deadlines and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, now you made a fuck ton of money. I don't think any major. I know he was going through divorces and stuff, his divorce and stuff during that time.
And then he spent that money to build a submarine to go underwater to look at plant life for the next one.
Yeah, god damn,
Also, I don't like Avatar.
Right.
So-
I also don't like Avatar as much.
We were talking about this last night, and I mentioned that you don't like it. But we were saying that if they were going to do a sequel,
They should have done it
Struck.
years ago.
Yeah, they
struck
should have
while
done
the
it with-
iron was hot, because now it's going to be built up way too big, I think.
It's going to be in, 2021 is when they're supposed to release the second one?
Yeah, you should. I don't know how far this podcast is
12
reaching out right
years.
now, but if you are releasing a sequel for a movie, get it within the first 5 years, because after that, your player base is going to be, like a little less interested. I mean, it's almost the same thing for video games. Like if you want,
It's very much the same thing for video games. Kingdom Hearts 3 fucking was a huge disappointment.
exactly, and it's like, oh, you've been taking all this time to make sure that it's perfect, but then you realize no, it wasn't that, and yeah, and it usually ends up being a big disappointment.
Well, don't worry, we're gonna have fucking 5 more Avatar movies,
and I'm not gonna go watch them because, like,
still
upon
gonna watch
re-examination of the first one, it was such a big deal in 2009 when this was released because it was when 3D movies were also
The rage.
the rage, and you know our AMC was kind of pushing it really hard, like hardcore at Showplace 14,
Big time.
and it's like, you know, it's time for you to go experience this movie, and all the major reviews were going, you have to see this in 3D, like it's amazing. And I saw movies in 3Ds before that, and I was like, this isn't that good.
Was it
And-
Spy Kids 3D?
Okay,
yeah.
Spy Kid, yeah. But that was like the fucking little red and blue glasses or whatever that you got.
Yeah. Or Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
didn't see that one.
I did see Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I saw those both in theaters. But yeah, like dude, I don't know. It's like Pocahontas wrapped in blue Reynolds wrap, you know.
Well, it's Dances with Wolves, right?
Dances with Wolves, Fern Gully, Pocahontas. It's a story that's been told before. Now, I actually saw a debate on Reddit about how it's like, regardless of whether or not Endgame takes over as the #1 grossing movie of all time, it's an amazing feat that Avatar, an original movie, made it 10 years. And then the debate kind of became, what defines an original movie? Now, Avatar is, yes, an original movie. It's non-existing IP. It's telling a story that's been told before with new characters in a new setting in a new way. So that's still an original movie. Fine. So, like,
But the bones
I'm
of
not,
the story.
so I'm not going to give it too much shit for basically being something that's been told before. Lots of movies do that.
they all get their inspiration from somewhere.
Exactly. But my issue with the movie is, like, I didn't see it in theaters.
Oh,
I saw it on a fucking TV that wasn't 3D, and I'm like, yeah, it looks fine. And I saw it fucking 5 years after it came out,
Oh, really?
and I was just like, it was fine. I don't see what was so special about this. But credit to James Cameron. He always makes fucking amazing sequels. Aliens, Terminator 2. So he could come up with something that's fantastic for Avatar 2, but then he sticks around a little too long, and then you get Terminator 3
Yeah.
and Terminator Genesis, which he like was all about, and Terminator Genesis was fucking garbage.
Was
was
he
very
involved with
bad.
Salvation?
I don't know if he was
No.
involved in Salvation. I don't think he said anything about Salvation either.
That's my favorite Terminator.
But Genesis, he
I'm
was
sorry.
like,
Oh, dude, Salvation's such a good movie.
The second is the best.
Terminator 2 is the best.
Well, no, I love Terminator 2. Don't get me wrong. But I fucking love Salvation so much. If you want to talk about an original, like I love that apocalypse that they made.
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
That's
it
such
was
a cool
It was a
apocalypse
cool world, yeah.
that they've developed in that movie. And then all the other kinds of Terminators. Because you kind of see, like, the ones they come up with in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Like,
I like
so
Rise of the
they
Machines.
they have her. She's like a liquid Terminator, but she's also very mechanical. It's weird. She was a weird design.
but she's
then-
also a woman.
And
Yikes! A woman.
wearing all red leather.
Yeah.
But and then you see like how she's kind of programming some of those like the big white robots, and you kind of see those in Salvation actually. But in Salvation they have all different kinds, and they're very like
We did get
rudimentary
a s-
type Terminators.
We did
like-
get a CGI Arnold in Salvation.
Yeah, you did.
And in Genesis.
We actually had Arnold in Genesis as well.
Well,
The
the
one in
next,
Salvation looked better.
I'm going to be honest, the next movie, I don't know.
it's
That's a James Cameron one.
gonna
It
shit
looks
the bed.
pretty gnarly.
It's gonna
We'll
shit
see.
the bed to me.
I'm not holding out much hope. Genesis, I thought could have been good, and then it was garbage.
Shane Black did the Predator and also shit the bed as well. I'm just
That one
Predator
was
wasn't
fine.
awful.
the Predator was garbage.
I didn't mind the Predator. I don't think of the 3 Predator movies I've seen, because I didn't see Predator 2.
Oh really?
I've seen the Arnie one, which is the best. Period. Obviously, everybody knows that. Then I saw the
Alien
fucking
versus Predator.
no. Okay, so fucking 4 Alien or Predator movies. Alien versus Predator was okay. Fucking
Predators.
Adrian Brody, that one.
Yeah,
Predators.
Predators.
I liked that one.
I did too. That was also, it's almost like the Terminator Salvation of the Predator movies. You know, like, let's go to like the place where the predators are. And,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I wanted to,
Oh,
but
really?
I never saw it.
It wasn't bad. I think they could have picked somebody if they want to go with the kind of character Adrian Brody was and like still have like this kind of like non-traditional action star. Fine. I don't think Adrian Brody was the pick for that.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be like some kind of like badass or something?
Yeah, he's like some mercenary
Like
badass.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
after
he's like
seeing
some
King Kong,
ex-Navy
I
SEAL.
can't picture him as any kind of badass.
Or yeah, like that's not the type of character Adrian Brody is equipped to play.
And also Adrian Brody. I thought I almost called him.
Adrian.
Yeah, I was almost gonna do that. I love him as an actor in general, and I don't know if you guys ever watched the miniseries of Houdini.
No.
It's fucking bomb, and he does great. And that, I mean, the only other movie I saw him in before that was King Kong, and I liked King Kong a lot when I was younger because I was 11 when it came out, and Giant Monster, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But upon further review, that movie's way too long, and Jack Black is a weird pick.
Well,
even
See, I
though-
thought Jack Black was a
even
good
though he
pick
was
for that
fun,
character.
even though he was funny, but it's like, I don't know. Did you guys watch Kong Skull Island?
I have not seen that one.
I heard that was actually pretty good.
Columbia graduate made it.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
What's Columbia?
The school I went to.
I don't fucking know. idea.
That guy from Columbia, South America. He just made it. Yeah, he's just from there. They let him make the movie though.
Yeah, that's cool.
Turns out he brought a bunch of cocaine to the set. And they're like, this guy rocks. Let's see what ideas he has.
But no, I thought the Predator was so far the worst out of. I mean, Alien vs Predator Requiem was pretty shit.
Why'd they call it Requiem?
No idea.
They could have just called it Alien vs Predator, right?
They
No,
couldn't call
that
it
Requiem
Alien.
was the second one.
Oh, they made
Yeah.
2 Alien vs Predators?
Yeah.
Oh.
Requiem was the second
It
one.
was really bad.
Oh.
It was really bad.
That's a
Like
shame.
a lot of unnecessary, like kind of like shock horror with the xenomorphs, like going into the labor and delivery room and like implanting pregnant women with eggs. I'm like, that's fucked up. Like straight up, I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, I've seen shock horror films before, but like in something that's supposed to be like kind of like a sci-fi horror, like we can just deal with normal people getting like little alien babies coming out of their chest. But I'm like, pregnant women like about to deliver. I'm like, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Those were 2 sneezes.
I thought you were beatboxing over there.
He was really amped up about the pregnancy scene in Alien vs Predator. So
Anyways,
The Godfather.
Planet of the Apes, Monty Python's Holy Grail.
We'll get to that one eventually.
Still haven't seen it.
What?
Yeah.
You've
Like
seen it.
legitimately?
No, haven't seen
You've fucking seen
it.
it.
No.
There are some who call me.
Mr. Anderson.
No, he fucking seen it. You've seen that
I
movie.
have not.
Yes, you have.
No, my brother has. He loves that movie.
I'm.
Tis only a flesh wound.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, yeah.
You've seen the movie. I'm pretty sure I showed that to you when we were in like 6th grade.
Nope.
I don't
Negative.
believe there's
He's a
anybody
fucking
of
liar.
all movies.
watched-
There's some that I don't think there's nobody has seen once they hit like a certain age, and that's one of them. Like Monty Python: The Holy Grail is
I
one
started
that I
Life
truly.
of Brian. I haven't seen any Monty Python stuff. I didn't grow up with Monty Python.
I didn't either. Holy Grail's the only one I've seen, and then
Well,
I've
that's
seen
because
a
of
couple
them.
skits.
I'm
No.
guessing you watched it with them.
No,
Bullshit.
saw it in Michigan.
Okay, so then why would you say that that's something that I would see by myself?
Well, it's not fucking geographical. I mean, you can see it outside of Michigan.
I feel like BBC America is like the only station that would play that movie.
No,
No,
not at all.
Is it like on
Monty
Showtime
Python
and
is a
HBO
fucking
and stuff?
classic.
AMC, Comedy Central, even I think has played
Yeah.
it before.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
Turner Classic would probably play it.
Yeah,
I don't even think that exists anymore.
it does.
It still does?
Yeah, we were just Ben Mankiewicz is the host now. We were just talking about who replaced.
Oh, now?
who Ben
I thought you were
Mankiewicz.
talking about like 10 years ago.
I mean, it's been Robert Osborne was the guy before Ben Mankiewicz. That's what I looked up
You
earlier.
don't have cable anymore, though, right?
No,
Oh shit.
I have PlayStation View for my TV.
I have Sling now. I kind of like it,
That's what fucking Laud uses also.
but
I'd use the free trial for views so I could watch the Oscars this year.
yeah, I started watching. Yeah, Life of Brian.
On Netflix?
Yeah, because they put it on there, but I just didn't have access to it. Straight up, like, unless I went to a video store and rented it in like classics. But
That's how I saw it first. I saw it on VHS.
But I really had
from
no
Family Video.
I had really no appeal. I wasn't into that comedy. Like the only British comedy that I really liked was Mr. Bean.
I fucking hate Mr. Bean.
Exactly.
Ugh. I mean, that's the only British Monty Python's Holy Grail. I haven't seen any other Monty Python other than
Life
the
of Brian
Crusoe
is
skit.
Life of Brian is great.
I actually did
My
like.
daddy showed it to me.
I just had to go to work before I finished Life of Brian, so I didn't get to finish it. But I didn't watch any Flying Circus.
Neither have I.
I heard it's funny. I heard it's good. I heard it's classic.
It really is.
But I just never got around to watching it, and to this day, I don't really know people that hold it in such high regard, except for like you guys are the first people to really shit on me for not seeing it.
Wow. Holy Grail, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the other Monty Python stuff I don't really care about.
But I just feel like they were so influential, like in comedy as it was back in the 70s, especially like in Britain. But I just feel like if I was born in Great Britain and I hadn't seen it, then it would be a more big a deal. I feel like that would be like me not seeing an Adam Sandler movie and living in America.
Like Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
I've seen it now.
Yeah, now?
Yeah. Yeah, when you said that, I was like...
Hey, John, have you seen Waterboy?
No.
Get the fuck out of my room.
I don't know if Waterboy is going to hold up, man.
It totally does, dude.
I don't
It's
know.
so fucking funny.
I don't think you'd get away with putting that movie in theaters nowadays.
Well, that has nothing
Yeah,
to
that
do with
doesn't
whether
have
or
to-
not
yeah.
it holds
Like-
up. It just means it couldn't be made now. And it probably could.
So does that...
I mean, some people think Tropic Thunder couldn't get made now, and Tropic Thunder absolutely could get made now because
Oh, yeah.
it's making it's not pro blackface. It's making fun of blackface, and Hollywood's, putting white actors in roles that shouldn't go
It's
white actors.
It's a parody comedy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
it's-
So you can, I think there's a lot of stuff that I think people say you can't get away with anymore that you probably still could. Like,
But that doesn't
fucking-
mean they don't hold up either.
No, exactly. No, like, because then you have to take it in the context. Now, I think, like, Mickey Rooney's character in Breakfast at Tiffany's doesn't hold up at all.
Oh, the Asian
I don't
guy.
think
Great
Waterboy
place.
does either.
Dude, it so does. Waterboy's so fucking good.
Who is Adam Sandler in this movie?
He's Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, and what is Bobby Boucher as a character? Who is he?
He's just a southern guy who was fucking homeschooled. That's why he's dumb.
Is he though?
He's not mentally challenged.
But how is Adam Sandler playing him?
Like Canteen Boy.
And how...
He's going to run this in circles.
but like how everyone like makes fun of him in the movie is if he is mentally challenged per se. That
Because
he is,
he's just dumb. Because he's been sheltered his whole life.
yeah, but
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, but the
other
movie
than water.
The movie just basically like goes on the same thing of like, oh, it's funny because he's dumb.
Well, then so's
But
Forrest
he's-
Gump.
I also don't like Forrest Gump.
I don't
But
like
Forrest Gump-
either. But Forrest Gump, I don't think is laughing, isn't poking fun at him. They're like, look at what he is able to accomplish.
That's what Waterboy is.
That may
But
be.
he,
I don't.
but he's
I'm
only
not,
playing the
I'm
character as like, oh, I wonder how, like, I'm gonna act in such a way to like get like the laughs. Like I'm gonna be. If you're homeschooled, I know plenty of homeschooled people, and they're not dumb.
Yeah, but look at who his mom is. It's not just the fact that he was homeschooled. He's homeschooled by a lady who told him everything was the devil.
But I think Adam Sandler just played him as like an autistic kid, pretty much, and that's where the comedy derived from. Is just like making fun of him for his.
I don't think that's where the comedy is derived from, though.
Well, fine. Then he's
You need to rewatch the movie, I think.
What's the
It's on
IMDb
Netflix.
score?
I think it's 6 out of 10, but I mean, IMDb shits on comedies all the time.
That it does. I will give it that. I will agree
What's
with that.
Tropic Thunder at on IMDb then?
Probably 7 out of 10.
I'm guessing.
Is
it's
it
like
the
a
Waterboy or
7.4.
just Waterboy?
The Waterboy?
The Waterboy is sitting at a 6.1.
Really?
Tropic Thunder.
Which is probably the highest out of all the Adam Sandler movies that's on there.
Tropic
Yeah,
Thunder is
Happy
sitting at a
Gilmore's
7.
probably higher. I would guess Happy Gilmore's like at a 7 or 7.2.
I don't think so. I think when we did the Happy Gilmore episode...
We
it
looked
was-
at Rotten Tomato scores.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm guessing its Rotten Tomato score was probably in the 70s then. For
Happy Gilmore? I think
Yeah.
it was lower.
I do not remember. But Tropic Thunder also makes fun of using mentally challenged people as Oscar bait
oh yeah,
with Simple Jack.
Right.
Simple Jack. 7.
Oh, Happy Gilmore got a 7. Mm-hmm. Why did they show a fucking Billy Madison clip here?
Ooh, I don't like that. From the guys that brought you Billy Madison.
That's really dumb.
Yeah, that's
That's actually really annoying. That's the trailer.
yeah.
What?
Oh,
Do they just play Billy Madison trailer?
let's find out. Well, this is the Men in Black International trailer.
this
God,
is
talk
Billy
about
Madison.
shit in the bed.
It hasn't even come out yet.
It's gonna be god
And
awful.
Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth are great together, so
They're great together, and that's the only reason this movie's being made. It's gonna be bad.
we'll see. Oh no, it's an ad for a Happy Gilmore Billy Madison combo pack on DVD.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
fucking stupid.
That's what IMDb put on here.
And then right after it, they have the Waterboy trailer, then Dodgeball trailer, Benchwarmers trailer. What the fuck is this? IMDb, get your shit together. I know there's a Happy Gilmore trailer because we watched it.
Yeah, we
was
watched
a
it.
horrible
It was.
trailer for the movie.
Because it was exactly that. It's like from the guys who brought you whatever.
Right. It's really weird watching trailers from the 90s or even
yeah.
just the early 2000s. It's like, ugh.
Like when
how
they
did this
throw-
entice anyone to see anything?
Yeah, I liked watching, like I mentioned, like The Lion King 1.5, or I also watched Emperor's New Groove a lot on VHS, and it's like coming soon to theaters, and then it would show you like, you know, like
Dozen
fucking-
trailers.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I just want to watch the movie. But yeah, do you remember like those ads at the beginning of movies telling you not to steal or like videotape
Yep.
movies like in theaters or whatever?
You wouldn't steal a purse.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember those.
you wouldn't steal candy from a baby. Therefore, you shouldn't steal.
Downloading a movie is stealing.
Yeah,
When me and Kate went to see Tolkien, we were in like the really small theaters because not a lot of people went and saw it. And there was this lady and this super fat guy who got in like the row right where the rail is. And the lady set up this like, it was dark so I couldn't really see what she was doing. And she was setting something up. I'm like, oh fuck, she's going to record this movie and fucking make a bootleg. It wasn't that though. It was like this thing that fastened to a rail, kind of like a pop filter for a microphone.
Okay.
And it had like a little screen on it. And I think she was deaf and it played
Oh.
subtitles.
Shit.
But I had never seen that before.
Interesting.
Out of all the movies I've been to, I've never seen anyone set that rig up.
Yeah, because I've been there so many fucking times, and like every movie, it says like they've got the closed captioning thing. So I'm wondering if you have to sit. Well, yeah, I wonder if you have to sit that low so you've got, because otherwise you probably have to hold it in your hands.
oh,
Right.
very true.
And then I was like, maybe that's why the
Interesting.
rail is there in theaters? Because
could be.
Because like you never, they don't have like a rail at the very very front of the theater either. So why even have a metal rail in the theater at all? It really
Interesting.
blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, I thought she was setting up a camera to bootleg the movie. I was like, really? Tolkien? That's one you want to bootleg?
Yeah, that's probably an easier one to get away with.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to
So The Godfather.
Right, yeah.
Godfather.
Francis Ford Coppola, No Jesus We Do.
So yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, do watch it.
Yeah, like I said, this is my 5th or 6th time watching it, and I'm gonna watch it again. And if you guys are
Is that a
wondering,
threat, Jordan?
if you guys are like wondering why I've seen it so many times,
Why have you seen it so many times, Jordan?
because it's
I've been
I
wondering.
almost, okay. So me and Nick did it as a tradition on New Year's and stuff. So I have that good memory in my mind of that, because I watched a movie about Italians with my Italian friend. So that's cool. And then usually in AMC they do a Thanksgiving marathon of The Godfathers.
Right.
And so when The Godfather's on, like Thanksgiving, usually I watch it during Thanksgiving break.
Are you
like,
thankful
Yeah.
while it's playing?
Because it's like, I don't want to say it's like a seasonal like movie, but if I was to put it in a season, yeah, I'd probably put it in fall to watch it. It didn't feel like, it's not a summer blockbuster, so it kind of did feel weird watching it in
I mean,
summer.
it's a good movie to be bundled up in.
Yeah.
Bundled up inside to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like colder weather, because you're not going outside anyways. So
Yeah, it gives you a good excuse. And like Thanksgiving, you're full as fuck and you just lounge on a couch. Like, I'm going to be here for a while. Oh, The Godfather's 3 hours long. I can chill out and watch.
All these Italian guys won't make me feel super fat.
Yeah, yeah, especially Clemenza.
I was reading a piece of trivia. Apparently, there was a disagreement between Coppola and like the DOP, and the guy who played Clemenza took the DOP side. So to get back at him, Coppola had him do the scene where he's running up the flights of stairs at the end, over and over and over again.
Oh,
Which is, and I bet you they used the last take because he looks fucking worn out going up those stairs.
he does.
He gets all the way up the stairs to shoot a guy getting off an elevator. It's like, couldn't you have taken the other elevator to try and beat him up to that floor?
What if someone else hit a button?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I just yeah, I've seen this movie so many times, and I'm gonna watch it forever. I feel like.
Right. I mean, I'm excited to watch the second one now. Like I said before, I never really watched it because I was like, "Fuck, this is gonna be a big investment of time is to watch the first one because then you got to watch the second one, and they're both long as fuck."
And you skip the third one.
But as far as like length goes, though, I mean, I shit on it now for like length, but it doesn't feel like a drag to.
Yeah, I wouldn't
sit
shit
through.
on it for length. I mean, I enjoyed it the whole time I was watching it. So.
But if I was to like nitpick, like I said, or maybe something that would turn people off from watching it, or if you've like. If something has prevented you from watching this movie, and one of those things being time, throw time out the window because it doesn't feel long. Just like Endgame to me. Like I got up to pee during Endgame, and I'm like, holy fuck! I've been sitting down for 2 hours and 10 minutes. It did not feel like that. Probably on the third time, I would probably be like,
No.
Oh,
Third
really?
time through, I was still like, Endgame is edited well enough that it just it keeps moving. Mm-hmm. There's not, to me, any moment in the movie that is slow. That's a waste. So for me, yeah, Endgame, 3 hours long. I could sit through that. Like me and Molly were talking about going to see it again for a fucking fourth time.
I could probably, if I was editing Endgame, I could probably shave off about 27 minutes, but that's just me.
And what
How
would
many
you
seconds? How many frames?
I was gonna say, what would you
Some real
shave
time
out?
code there, buddy.
So the opening scene with Iron Man and Nebula on the spaceship, I would take out because Captain Marvel comes to rescue them right away. Spoiler. So I felt like that, like
I suppose not all of that is.
So
necessary.
you're thinking the weight of them being out there didn't
Yeah.
have the impact of, like, Tony Stark wasn't out in space long enough?
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say long enough, but like there were stakes there, and then as soon as Captain Marvel like used up down left right, or like Tony did on his helmet right away to like activate the Captain Marvel cheat code, and then she just so happened to be going through space at that point in time
Okay,
to
so
save them.
here's the thing about that, and it didn't dawn on me until I watched Kevin Smith's review of Endgame.
Well, because
So-
you see at the end of one of the movies,
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
When-
So she already met up with.
The Avengers.
Right.
So they're like, hey, we need you to go find Tony Stark. He's probably on Titan. Like, wherever
Thanos is from, and she
Yeah.
probably knows
And
because
so
she's been out
she-
in space for fucking 40 years.
on the Intercept course, she didn't have as much.
But that was an end
Yes,
credit.
it was an end credit for Captain Marvel.
Right.
That
They
I
didn't
thought was
say
good.
that, but she met up with Captain America and Black Widow.
And I saw the end credit scene.
I just thought, I was expecting that scene to show up in Endgame, and I'm wondering if they didn't do that originally, and then they cut that. It's like, I already saw it in Captain Marvel, let's not put it in again.
So
Like they
I
did
would've
the
put
scene
that-
with Bucky and Ant-Man.
Yeah. I would have done that, or at the end of Doctor Strange with
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene in Civil War where Bucky's arm is like in the vice, and like Falcon and Cap are trying to figure out like what to do.
Yeah.
That was part of that was a post credit shot in Ant-Man.
Oh, was it really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't fucking know that.
Yep.
That's weird.
So I think
How did I miss that?
I think to help make it make more sense, they should have put that bit
Yeah.
in the movie and then been like, hey, Tony's out in space. This is where Thanos is. Go, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Go rescue him.
I think that would have been telegraphing too much. I think they did it fine. They could have cut out some of the stuff of Tony out in space, and then just have him
There already wasn't a lot of it.
Yeah, but I still think there's plenty of it.
I think
I still think because when we left, we know he's on Titan by himself with Nebula. So as soon as you see the ship drifting through space, you can already assume he's been out there for a long time.
Yeah.
You could have literally just had a wide shot of him out in space. He records the video. You could have made even the speech shorter.
I think she just rescued him too fast. I think that we should have gone and carried on some sort
faster.
of. If you wanted to that, because it was 13 minutes of just Iron Man and Nebula at the beginning. and that's 13 I would have gotten rid of. I thought they could have cut that a little bit better, whereas like maybe done like the Tony's message to Pepper, have that, and then Nebula go like you're not gonna survive kind of thing, and then cut to something else, and maybe have it be that one scene with Captain Marvel from that, and then have her go off, and then start another plot point in Endgame, and then carry on and get Tony. But I feel like that was such a fast, like, in and out rescue mission, and I feel like the stakes didn't feel as high as they were made in the trailer, like our first Endgame trailer.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because I'd seen the scene so much in the Endgame trailer.
Could be.
Where it was like, just kind of like, all right, I get it, let's get going. Maybe that's all it is.
And so what else would you cut from Endgame?
The other thing I would cut would be... I'd probably cut out a couple minutes when Tony and Cap went back in time. I would keep everything with like Tony talking to his dad.
Okay.
And I would keep the stuff with Cap, like looking at Peggy, and stuff like that. Like those are meant to give us like a little bit of payback for our emotional investments that we've made.
Yep.
Like, I mean, going back to like Civil War, when we found out that Bucky was the one that killed Tony's parents, you're just like, holy shit! Like, and then I don't know. There was parts where like everything with Michael Douglas CGI'd.
But it was really brief because they just needed to get the Pym particles.
It was, and it's like, oh shit! Like, I feel like it was more like, oh my god, there he is, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, we could have just like had him like walk out of like his office like nonchalantly doing something else. But I don't know. There, like, I had a problem with that. Some of the end fight scene stuff, like when everyone came through portals, I thought was dope.
Yeah.
Some of the shots, I was just like, why did you do that? Like, did you do that because you felt like you weren't paying enough credit to some of these characters? Like when they did the, like, oh yeah, like, I forgot who it was. I think it was like Scarlet Witch, and it's like, or no, it was Captain Marvel, and she's like, I'm going for it, and Spider-Man's like, oh, don't you need help? Or it's like, I got you back, and then the girl, like all the female superheroes were just like, don't worry, we got her back, and then it did like a slow pan shot of everyone.
A little bit of a girl power moment.
I was okay with that because, like, you know, I get the reason they did that shot, and I thought it was a really cool shot. My problem with that scene, though, is everybody just watched her, without slowing down, pass through Thanos' ship twice, destroying it.
She's not the person who needs help, guys.
Yeah, it's like, out of everybody, she should be the only one who'd be like, you can definitely just walk your way over to the fucking time machine.
Also, and then, so that was a couple, like, I feel like that fight scene, that whole end fight scene could have been about 3 minutes less. Not taking a lot out of it because there were some great action moments in it. I told you about this. One of my favorite scenes from that was Scarlet Witch seeing Thanos for the first time since everything.
I don't even know who you were.
Yeah, it's like, you took everything from me. He's like, I don't even know who you are. She's like, oh, you will. And then she just starts picking shit up, and Thanos is like, oh, fuck, who are you? And then he was like, literally, like, she literally just picked him up and was tearing him apart. And he's like, rainfire, rainfire. And then the guy's like, what about the men? I don't care, I'm being ripped apart. And then, yeah, rainfire. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like, stuff like that, that actually had purpose to me, I would keep. But any of the stuff that was like a little filler-esque.
See, I was okay with the fan service because this is the end of all of this, and it's paying off for everybody's investment.
I guess now's the time to get it in.
Exactly, especially considering, spoiler alert, I won't say it just in case you haven't watched it yet, the ending of the movie
say
was...
it.
Okay, fine.
The ending...
So
You've seen it 3 fucking times,
That's
and they're
true.
planning to go see it a 4th time.
That's true. Tony Stark dies, Cap bows out, passes the shield on to Falcon.
Which is totally cool, man.
Yeah, my first thought was, why not Bucky? But then you think about it, too. It's like he's spent more time working with Falcon, too. And my other thought was, he probably mentioned it to Bucky. Like, that was his first thought, was like, I'll pass it to Bucky. And Bucky would have been like, no, man, like, I'm way too fucked up to take that. over.
Yeah.
He's not a good
Like-
symbol for it.
Exactly. Like Falcon is perfect to like take over.
What I was thinking about as far as Bucky was concerned, it's like, why didn't Cap say, "Hey Buck, do you want to be young or do you want to just get old too and get this shit over with?"
I feel like that was all discussed because I feel like, especially after watching it a third time, Bucky knew exactly what Cap was going to do.
Yeah.
Bucky was the only person he told he was going to do this, and Bucky probably was like, he offered it to Bucky, and Bucky's probably like, no, I don't want to do that.
I guess also Bucky has no ties to that time anyway.
Yeah.
I also,
Not really, anyway.
Yeah.
if I was to cut out, I think the last thing I would cut out would probably cut down the Hawkeye Scarlett Johansson scene, like when they were trying to get the Soul Stone. And I was literally thinking, I'm like, okay, like maybe because obviously we've understood. I mean, if you've been a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you kind of understand that their relationship's complicated, and that maybe in another life they would be together, kind of thing.
See, that's not how I ever took it. I just always figured they were just best friends.
Yeah.
Period.
Because they kind of went through. I don't want to say they went through the same stuff, but like they're like the only humans like on the Avengers kind of thing, and
They probably relate a little more
so-
outside of just them being friends for longer anyway.
so I was just like, no, I'm like they kind of like really love each other, and like the whole. No, I'm gonna die. No, I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
no,
that
I'm
went
gonna
on
die.
a little long. I was like, Jesus Christ, someone died.
There was
Both
like,
of you died.
Yeah,
I don't give
I
a
would say
shit.
there was like 6 or 7 parts where like
I like
they
them
prevented
fighting for it to get there, but
Yes.
I get it. They both could have like, instead of both being like
After,
weird
like,
meaning
2.
somebody, we're not talking about the same person. They both like when they like do like the hands in thing. They both it should have just been like a moment of recognition in their eyes and then go for it.
Yeah, and
Like I would have been okay with that too.
Yeah, because I was literally thinking, I'm like, wow, why? Because like it was Scarlett Johansson that jumped off, and Hawkeye like grabbed on the ledge and then grabbed her hand. She's like, it's okay. Like,
No,
it's
no, that's not what happened. Hawkeye jumped first. She jumped to catch him, and like put the grappling hook on him. So that he's suspended, and he has to let her go.
Yeah, and so when that happened, there was one dude in the front of my theater that went, "What the fuck?" Like, come on. And I'm like, yeah, like I kind of felt that. So that'd be kind of the stuff that I would cut out. Overall, I really liked Endgame. Also, really loved The Godfather.
Some people might call Endgame the Godfather of Marvel movies.
Perhaps.
To my like though, I keep going back to this. I have to watch Endgame again. Also, fun fact: Endgame's less than 100 million away from beating. I'm pretty sure it's in the 20 million or 30 million mark right now in box office.
I have not seen, but yeah, I figured it's
getting
gonna
really
do
close.
it.
And it's probably got another strong 5-6 weeks left in theaters before they take it out.
Well-
because it's only been out for 5 now. Like this is the 5th week.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like it just
Hard to
came out
think
in the
about.
last week of April. It came out on April 20. Well, it's supposed to come out on 26th. So you had the midnight release of the 25th or whatever. So yeah, it's only been out for 5 weeks, which is crazy. But it feels like it's been out forever. Which, if you haven't seen it, for the love of God, go watch it in theaters because
And skip all of this conversation because
Yes.
I did spoil the end of the movie.
we
for
did
you.
spoil a lot of it. So as soon as you hear me talk, I mean,
Well, it'd be so fucking weird if someone who hasn't seen Endgame found this fucking podcast and listened to this fucking episode.
Noah and Eric have not seen Endgame.
Yeah, but they're not listening to the shit.
I mean, they could. I listen to this shit.
I know. That's what I do. I say, no one's fucking listening to this, and then someone says, I listened to it. It's like, yeah,
It's like,
well, I know you
cool.
did.
Yeah.
Well, this is a movie podcast. Spoiler alert,
Movie.
all the time.
That's fair. Especially because we do usually talk about older movies.
Yeah, especially, I mean, and this movie's so big, and it's almost beating Avatar. It would be kind of weird to assume that you haven't seen it. I mean, even people that hadn't been watching Marvel since the beginning, like maybe they.
I don't even
Nate's
think,
only seen a handful of
I was gonna say,
fucking
I don't
Marvel
even think
movies.
Nick's seen Endgame yet. I think he was going to, but I don't think he's actually gotten around to it yet.
I don't even think Nick will see it.
No, I think he'll see it because he ends up seeing them like
8 weeks after they've been.
he
released.
finally fucking saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I actually haven't seen that movie
It's so
yet.
goddamn good.
I'm ready. My body's ready for it.
I saw that one 3 times in theaters.
But
I've been seeing a lot of
I'm
movies
waiting
in
to get my
theaters.
So I'm getting a new TV. I'm getting a 4K, and there's a couple
Mm-hmm.
movies that I've been waiting to watch on it, and that being one of them.
Yeah,
Because I heard art, like the art style. I mean, I've seen commercials and stuff, and I love the art style, and I'm just like,
It's
this
better
would definitely
watching.
look better in 4K. And Target just released the 4K copy this last week, so that's going to be my first movie I buy for 4K.
That's when Nick saw it, he's like, that one lived up to the hype. Like, Nick usually, like, shit gets overhyped for him, and then he doesn't like it as much. He's like, that one lived up to the hype. That one deserved the Oscar it fucking won.
You know what I feel bad for, though, since we're talking about superheroes? Can we talk about Shazam for a minute?
Was great. Shazam was incredible.
I didn't see it. And
didn't?
Shazam's one of my favorite heroes, but...
Oh, it's so good. You've got to watch this movie.
And I do, but I think it just got lost in DC's kind of like shit show of movies.
I think it.
No, it's-
I think it stood
but
out
it's
from the
it's
shit
the
show
diamond in the
movies.
rough. And I mean,
Wait, so you
I
did
loved
see it?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's the diamond in the rough because opening week it had it was almost just like Spider-Verse. It was in the 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience score was also super high. But when you look at the box office, you're just like, this movie didn't make a lot.
It's because DC, I mean, it's still, like, for me, I liked Man of Steel.
I love Man of Steel.
I liked Batman v Superman. I know a lot of people didn't. I think the director's cut was way better.
Yeah, the extended edition.
For
was-
sure.
yeah.
Suicide Squad was fucking trash.
Yeah.
Better on the second viewing, actually,
it's
but
not.
still bad.
I have not. I'm
It's
excited
because I can make more fun of it on the second viewing.
I'm excited for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Justice League. I
Didn't
loved
watch it.
Wonder Woman.
Loved Wonder Woman.
I liked Aquaman. I loved Shazam.
I didn't watch Aquaman, but that was also another movie that I was waiting to watch.
It's they are starting, I think, to figure out what they fucked up, and I think they're starting to adjust for it.
Yeah, and what they want to be.
Yes, I'm okay with Robert Pattinson as Batman.
I am as well.
I know there's people who are up in arms, and I'm just really quickly going to want to address like all these fucking petitions that came out within like the last month about movies,
Yeah.
and I blame Paramount and Sonic the fucking Hedgehog because everybody saw it. I'm excited for it because it's going to be a garbage fart, but I want to watch it happen.
Didn't they push the release date
they
now
pushed it
to 2020?
Yeah, Valentine's Day 2020.
Fuck.
So that's where you got to take your date is to go see Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. But and everybody shit on the design, and they're like, okay, we'll change it. So now everybody's like, sweet, we want a new last season of Game of Thrones. We don't want fucking Robert Pattinson to play Batman. And then it's like,
Danny
sign all these
DeVito
peti-
should play the Wolverine. That was a petition I actually signed.
Well, Bob Hoskins, they wanted to play Wolverine originally.
Who's Bob Hoskins?
He was the detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He played Mario in Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah, they wanted him to be Wolverine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and John Leguizamo played Luigi.
Yeah,
Really?
he did.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
Bob Hoskins was Mario, and John Leguizamo was Luigi.
I love John Leguizamo.
But
Boy.
I think we're starting to wind down, unless we've got more that we want
No,
to.
this is officially going to be the longest episode now.
Absolutely.
I would say we're at an hour 45.
Just
Oh,
like,
shit, really?
and fun fact, Godfather, longest movie we've watched for this, so it's fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was just, I was thinking
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
On
I wasn't
my,
like hemming and hawing. I was just thinking.
on my podcast, where Inglourious Bastards was our longest movie that we did, and we did an hour and 47 minutes on it. But we kind of paid homage to Tarantino, and we went by like a chapter by chapter breakdown.
Okay.
And it was more like a film essay than an actual like us shooting the shit about it. And we kind of went behind like the meanings of the shots and stuff like that. Kind of like experimenting like with what we wanted from like the podcast, but we're not doing that anymore because we had an hour and 47-minute podcast just on Inglourious Bastards, and we threw some comedy in there. But
Yeah, do you want to talk about what your podcast is, where it can be found?
oh yeah,
Who, what, when, where, why?
Depending on when this podcast is released,
Tuesday.
This one will be this is going to be the Tuesday episode.
Okay. Well, hopefully by tomorrow, and tomorrow being June 3rd, hopefully our first episode is released on Spotify. It's just an intro to like the podcast. The podcast title is called Popular Films. It's a weekly podcast where me and my co-host Peyton Dull, we pick we kind of... How am I going to explain this without looking at the actual title? Because I don't want to fuck it up. So, what me and Peyton do is we recommend movies that we think you should watch. We also tell you how to make picking movies and picking beer a lot simpler and not overcomplicated, especially since we live in a world where selection is so abundant, and there's always a moment on a Saturday night when you're looking at your significant other or your roommate and you're like, all right, what are we going to watch? And it's like, I don't know, what do you want to watch? Mm-hmm. So that our podcast is basically designed to make that a thing of the past. Our first podcast, is hopefully coming out Monday. And you can find us on Spotify, at least for the first episodes, and we're going to try to upload to Apple Music as well. Okay. We got an Apple's podcast system.
Now, since Spotify is such a fucking pain in the ass for searching up new podcasts, what's going to be the title of your first episode, do you know?
I think it's going to be called Film Origins. I think that's what we decided on.
Film Origins?
Humble Beginnings. I haven't decided on.
Okay.
So.
You can try both.
You can try both. We'll just
use
add them
both,
together. Yeah. So Popular Films, and you can follow me on Instagram at GrizzlyBeardman. You can follow our the podcast's Instagram as well at Popular Films. Mm-hmm. We're just posting about like the editing process and what beers we recommend for people right now in the summer season.
Right. I think you have like 6 or 7 posts up right now.
Yep, so if you want to know what I look like or what Peyton looks like and kind of who we are as people, we don't take life too seriously, but we take movie and beer seriously.
That is life, Jordan.
Fuck.
But yeah, so check him out, and this was Late to the Shizzo. John, do you want to talk about your Twitter?
And my
Instagram?
Twitter is at Rosendoom2. My Instagram is Rosendoom1. Those are my personal ones. The show's Twitter is at LTTS Podcast. The show's Instagram is Late to the Podcast. That's those. Most of the fucking ones on the show's Instagram are just screenshots. Because despite I'm trying to run the accounts, I'm having issues coming up with more creative ways of showing what the hell we're doing, plus a title. So, especially just doing it all off my phone because I'm too lazy to boot up my computer.
Here, hold on. Let's do this right now.
All right, let's get a.
All right.
That's a wall. Whoa.
Shit, and the mic almost fell over.
Jordan.
Watch out.
Yeah, damn it.
You bastard.
There
There it is.
There we go. All right, cool.
Instagram's
Look out.
not actually going to tolerate that with their stupid 1:1 aspect ratio. Hold on. Here, John, move in a little bit. This is interesting podcast material.
We're working on taking a selfie for the Instagram right now.
Cool.
Awesome sauce.
Sweet.
All right, and also, me and John have been writing a film now, which actually has all of its social media pages. I don't know if you've seen.
Yes,
I made those.
I saw all of the Late to the Show ones getting followed by it.
So all the handles are at Roleplay Film. Yep. That's it. That's all you need. And then we're going to be uploading our Indiegogo page here pretty soon. So anyone who wants to share or make donations to that would be much appreciated. And we'll have more news and updates on that later this week.
Yes.
Exciting, guys.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see.
Oh, boy. But yeah, that's it. And John, do you want to talk about our next movie? I don't know when we're going to be able to have our next guest episode and stuff. But also, Kate's ready to do the Friday the 13th here soon.
Do we want to pull the trigger on that one?
Yeah. Oh, here, I'll delete Planet of the Apes also.
And you can also delete Godfather.
Actually, straight up, if I was you guys, I would probably do like The Exorcist and Friday the 13th around
Halloween time.
I want to do Friday the 13th in the summer because it's like summer camp.
Well, yeah, summer camp horror, but I think like classified as the summer slasher, I think you could put it anywhere. Okay, maybe.
Well, I
it's
also don't want to
appropriate.
make Kate wait until Halloween either.
Yes.
Oh,
Or until we have a week with a Friday the 13th.
I mean, there's so many Friday the 13th anyway.
Can you go ahead and take off the Barney movie with the magic?
See, that's what I was saying, but was that going to be like an... no, that was going to be like an Easter movie or some shit.
Yeah, that's my childhood movie. Okay, there, Jordan.
I've watched it plenty of times, and I like in my mind right now. I just remember snippets of it, but some of my favorite scenes. Remember the dude that was like, who stole the egg, but he had like all the the food fryer and stuff in his van.
Yeah.
And he was like cooking up burgers and shit. And I was like, I want that in my fucking car when I'm older.
Yeah, that shit was dope.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right. So possibly.
Friday the 13th. Yeah. We might
And
do
if
that
not,
one.
you'll just be fucking surprised next
Yeah.
week.
As was tradition at the beginning of this fucking podcast. It's like,
Yeah.
we'll say one movie and watch something else entirely. So.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Don't be late.
Boy.